Good morning. I'm back in the barn to work on my old Union bicycle. In the previous video in this series, I partially disassembled the bike and managed to remove the bottom bracket. Here it comes, with some struggle and stupidity. And there it is. As you can see, even after a bit of cleanup, the remains are not looking that great. So I will definitely have to find a replacement if I want to get this bicycle rolling again. And I need to get it rolling again, because my other bicycle is starting to make strange noises that probably need some attention. So in this video I'm going to take apart the rear wheel hub and reassemble it with new ball bearings. So with some luck this should be a relatively easy job. So let's bring in the tools. It should be easy, but it might get a little bit dirty. I think I'll go outside to clean off this dried up grease. I brushed off all of the dried up grease and this actually still looks better than expected. It might still work with a new chain. It definitely doesn't have a sawtooth pattern. So I found the correct cone wrench, and I think that big nut is a number 17. Something went wrong. Oh. It's already loose. It's gonna be a great day. And now I should be able to take off the cone. And then I should have access to the balls. Or I should be able to remove the axle. The balls in here are still silvery colored. I'll flip over the wheel and then I should be able to remove the axle. There it is. And there you can see the brake mechanism. You guys should pay close attention how I take this apart. That way I remember how to put it all back together. So these here are all of the parts that came out when I started pulling that tab here. Lots of grease. And I think there is some wear on these brakes, but that doesn't really matter, because in the Netherlands here we don't need any brakes because we don't have any mountains. This cage here, the outside here, it seems to be a bit misformed, but who knows, it might still be reusable if I cannot find any new parts. Alright, I will throw these into the diesel to get them cleaned up. Oh, go swim into the dirty diesel. So next I'm going to remove this gear, but honestly I want to remove this inner part, but I have no idea how that is assembled, and I'm not sure if I have the proper tool for that. But somehow I should gain access to the ball bearings, and in order to get there this will have to come out too. But first I'm going to pry off this gear. And give it a little cleanup. Some sort of ring washer thing. And there it is. Some sort of worm gear. Well, no special tool needed. And there are the ball bearings. And a whole lot of dirty, sticky grease that looks like molasses. Terrible. Well, these parts can all go for a swim now. Now go try operate a camera with this sticky gunk on your fingers. I think at some point this must have been grease of some kind. And here's a close-up of the ball race. It's also full with that sticky grease. So I better clean it up. So far I found 2 ball cages, but there's a third one here hiding behind the brake reaction arm, and it looks like there's a whole lot of dried up grease in this ball cage as well, and the balls are a bit loose in here. But I better clean this up as well, so I can take it with me when I go hunting for new parts. I think this green thing used to be in a 5-liter engine coolant container. Well, I'll leave this to soak for a while. So here are all of the parts after they had a little swim in the dirty diesel. I think they look reasonably clean, although I could have done a better job on these ball cages. But why bother? I'm going to replace these anyway. Although these cages are not really necessary. You can also go with bare balls. Although lubing things up might get awkward, might get messy. I should also replace the cones on both the coaster's brake side and this other side. They both have some damage, as you can see on these close-up photographs. The ball race on this coaster brake part is still okay and reusable, as is the cup or the ball race on the wheel hub. But if these parts are available and cheap, I might replace them as well. I still need to disassemble the rest of the axle, so I can take the cone off to take it with me to the bike shop. But before I take it apart, I should measure the amount of stick out, and that's about 28 millimeters, and that should make it easier to place the cone back at the same position when reassembling. So I disassembled the axle, and now I can take the cone with me to the bike shop, although it slipped in the vise and now it has dented this dust cover. So ideally this should also be replaced, although I can try and get this back into shape. But maybe the bicycle will do just fine without this dust cover. So next weekend I'm going to visit the local bike shop and see if the guy can help me with some of these parts. Hopefully all of these parts. The worst thing that can happen, I will end up buying this stuff on the internet, or at least try and get some ball bearings. But that usually takes a long time to get it delivered here. And I refuse to buy stuff from Amazon, because I think Amazon is just a big time corona profiteer. So I paid a visit to my local bike guy. So he gave me a complete coaster brake hub. So now I should have all of the parts needed to rebuild my wheel. I found some markings on the side of the brake reaction arm. It says 3KT, Histop, and some numbers. and the same writing can also be found on the old reaction arm. So this should work out just fine. The only difference that I found so far is the axle is just a little bit shorter, but that shouldn't be a problem, as I can reuse the old axle. Shut up, chickens. Don't mess with the recordings. No, that's not going to happen. I think I better put this thing in the vise. After loosening things up in the vise, let's take this thing apart. And this will be a perfect clip to go into fast forward. I will also take apart the axle so I can swap it out with the old one. So here you can see the difference in the length of the axle. It's maybe half a centimeter, maybe a hair more. So I guess now I need to reassemble things, but I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time cleaning this black grease up. I'll just add some extra grease and slap things back together. And I will start on the coaster brake side. First, the cone that drives the coaster brakes. It is a bit of a messy job. The new dust cover. And a nut. A little bit less. And that's probably close enough. So next I need to fish out the brake shoes. And I'm not going to reuse this part. I cleaned the inside and I'm going to reinstall everything with some lithium grease. Not sure if that's a good idea, but it is what I have and it is what I will use. And now the brake shoes. So I'm sure I made a mistake there, so let's try that again. A little extra grease. Again, not sure if that's a good idea, but it should prevent rust. And now the dirty cage with ball bearings. And next is the brake reaction arm. and then I will flip it around. Something's wrong, and I have no idea what. And that dirty grease is driving me crazy. It gets everywhere. I just noticed that there is a difference between these two hubs. The old one is a lot lower than the new one. Let's see, this is about, and that's 2.8 or 3 millimeters, and on the other one almost 5.5. I'm not sure if this is going to be a problem, but well, I guess I will find out eventually. Moving on. A little bit of extra grease. Shouldn't hurt, I hope. And now this part should go in here. Like this. More grease. And now a ball cage. I should wash my hands. That black stuff gets everywhere. I think this ring goes on here. And now another cone. Not too tight. That's too tight. And this ring should be held in place by the gear. Here's the gear. It should be dished outside like this. And now a clip to keep things in place. I think that pretty much concludes the whole assembly. I guess now I should put it, well, something's wrong here. No, it just feels wrong. I think it works fine. Well, I'm not completely sure how this is going to work out, since I did use old brake shoes on an even older hub. Yeah, you're not supposed to do things like this with cars. But maybe it'll be just fine with bicycle brakes. And again, we don't have any hills or mountains in the Netherlands, so brakes are really optional over here. I had to move my table out of the way to create room for my bicycle in the barn studio. But here it is again. Let's continue this production. Let's reinstall the wheel. I'll do a quick mock-up to test things. But first, let's flip around the wheel, because it is not going to work like this. This is the proper way. A washer and a nut. And I'll do the same on the other side, although I do not have the same nuts and washers. The whole setup seems to be a little bit smaller than before. It's tighter. It feels like I'm pinching the frame together. Yeah, that really shouldn't matter. It's not something I'm worried about. Wheel's still working. There's no more side to side slop in the wheel hub. And now let's test the brake with this chain whip. I haven't fixed the brake reaction arm, but it seems to be doing its job. So that's a big success, but I guess a proper test will have to follow once I have reinstalled a new bottom bracket and a chain. So the next time in this series I'm going to reinstall the bottom bracket, and I do have the proper replacement parts for that. I don't think it was necessary to swap out the axle. There seems to be enough clearance on both sides of the axle. I guess that is what you get when you pinch together a frame. Yeah, that's not working. The brake reaction arm here is hitting the frame, so my homemade bracket here doesn't fit anymore. That's another little problem that needs to be fixed. Something for the next time.